you on here. How are you, girl?
I'm great, April. Thank you so much for inviting me to be part of this.
Yes, I'm super excited to have you. I have to tell you, I really admire you. I don't follow a lot of like influencers or like other fitness coaches, but I have been following you since I like met you back in the day. So I just wanted to like give you props. Like you're doing an amazing job.
Oh, thank you. That means so much to me. I know what you mean. There's not a lot of other fitness or nutrition people that I follow, so I take it as a huge compliment.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm super excited to have you in the summit. I think people are going to learn a lot from you. You're the only nutritionist that is participating, so feel free to share all the knowledge with anyone who's watching. But first off, like, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you love, all that good stuff.
Sure. So my name's Heather McConaughey, and I'm a registered nurse turned nutritionist turned online fitness and health coach for women. And I was a registered nurse for about 5 years. And during that time, I went through my own fitness and health transformation. I lost weight, I gained the weight back, I lost it again, and I really was interested in nutrition. I started doing a deep dive. I was trying different programs, working with different coaches, and getting results, but then like not the results exactly I wanted. And so I got certified in nutrition with no real intent to start a business. I honestly was learning because I was so interested in it. And one thing led to another, and I realized I really wasn't happy being a nurse and that I wanted to start my own business. And that's what launched my business. It's called The Positive Thread. And I started with one client, and it's just grown and grown. And now we work with women all over the United States, including Canada. I've even had clients in Europe. And really my goal is to empower women with the knowledge they need around nutrition and mindset, because I think those are the two keys that most people are missing to achieve results. And yeah, so, and I live in Austin, Texas as we're filming this, but when people watch this video, I will be living in Kauai, Hawaii. I am moving to Kauai in about 10 days from when we're recording this. So yeah.
Oh my God, how exciting. We're definitely going to talk about that and how that came about. So first of all, just to like give you a review, the summit is for women who honestly haven't necessarily taken any steps towards changing their health for the better and or pursuing like the passions that they have in life. So they're feeling very detached from their lives. So I guess my first question for you would be like, what do you think would be most important for a woman, like the first step to take to really like take control back in her life and start living her purpose again?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great question. You know, I think we have to get really honest with ourselves that until things are bad enough for us, we won't change. And a lot of times people actually haven't hit their rock bottom in order to make the changes they need to make. And I'll give you two examples from my life, one from my own fitness and health journey, and then one with my career and starting the business. And you know, when I really went after my fitness and health journey, I had gone through a breakup. I had eaten lots of pasta for a whole winter, like all ravioli with cheese, with olive oil. I don't even know how many fat grams I was eating, probably 60 fat grams in one dinner. I didn't know about macros. And I was baking. I thought I could be vegan and it would be healthier. So I just like baked a lot of like vegan cookies and then ate them because that's better, right? No. And it wasn't until I just got to this point that spring after the breakup where I felt so sluggish in my body. I had like no energy. I felt super uncomfortable in clothes. I was always wearing like baggy shirts that like blousy baggy shirts that covered my stomach because I didn't like the way my abdomen looked. And I was just unhappy. And it was like, I had to get to that point to be like, I'm ready to make a change. And with my business and career, I was unhappy as a nurse for years and I complained about it all the time to friends. I was the friend who was always like complaining about my job, but not doing anything about it.
Yeah.
It really got to a point where I was like, I saw myself at age 50 doing the exact same job and living the exact same life if I didn't take radical action. And I think women need to be honest with themselves. Like, am I at rock bottom? Is this bad for me? Because a lot of times we don't realize that things have actually gotten really bad for us. And I think the first step to change is actually getting really in tune with something's not right here. And this isn't working for me anymore.
So would you say that it's pretty common for like people talk about having a why when you like start a new journey? Like, what's your why? What's your purpose? What's driving you? And I find that people, it's often the pain and just like the uncomfortable feeling that they're in constantly starts out as their why. Do you think that's normal?
Yeah, I think pain drives us to change more so than, you know, the vision of the positive future. Maybe like we're more driven to change because we're in pain. And I think that's just because of how we're wired as human beings. Like we're wired for survival, we're wired to avoid pain, danger. We're like, I just need to survive and get out of this. So I think that is a normal response to have. And then I think your why evolves and then becomes something different. So like my why now is not about getting out of pain. It's about being an inspiration to other people.
Yeah. So, how did you so the pain of being in your job was kind of your catalyst for like jumping into starting a business. So what would be like your piece of advice for a woman who's just starting out? Like, what's the next step that she has to take?
So I think are you saying in regards to starting a business?
Or starting a business, we could talk about that specifically because I do think a lot of people want to do that are watching, or just like pursuing whatever it is they're passionate about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think there's actually a difference between pursuing a passion and launching a business. And I think there's actually a lot of content that's not helpful out there to people that's just like, follow your passion and dream job. And I don't think it actually always works like that, because a successful business is not necessarily a business built on passion. A successful business is a business that's built on solving a problem for people effectively. And so I think it's two different things. You know, if you have a drive to start a business, that's going to be born by something else than you just wanting to follow your passion in life. So if you just want to follow your passion in life, I think there's a lot of tools that you can do to access your inner creativity. And I did a lot of books like Julia Cameron's book, The Artist Within, like Show Your Work. Like there's a lot of great books, Big Magic by Liz Gilbert. So I think if you're just trying to follow your passion, I think getting dialed into your creativity is the first step. If you're trying to launch a business, I think the most important thing to start with is not your goal for yourself. It's what do you want your clients to achieve? What's the problem you want to solve for others? That should be the driving force of you creating your business.
That's really, really powerful. Like super powerful. Because I feel like a couple things that I want to point out is I feel like right now, especially, and it could be just the space that you and I are in, but I feel like the message is like, whatever your passion is, that's what you should be making money through, which doesn't necessarily, that's not necessarily true, right, for everyone. And then I also think that a lot of people get into starting businesses just because they see these highlight reels on social media and they think, oh my God, this person went from making nothing to making $10,000 a month overnight. Like, I want to do that. And I love knitting. So I'm going to start a knitting business, you know? But it doesn't really work like that. At least not in my experience.
Definitely not. And I think a lot of people don't anticipate how challenging running a business is going to be. And, you know, I don't actually think entrepreneurship is for everybody.
No, yeah.
Some people thrive on being an employee. Like I have two people working for me right now and they're both excellent at what they do, but like they don't have a desire to be the entrepreneur part of things.
Yeah.
And to launch a business means you assume risk and responsibility. And if you aren't down for risk and responsibility, entrepreneurship is not for you.
Yeah, totally. So then what is like the first step for a lady who like maybe she doesn't want to start a business, but she's still feeling that disconnection with her life and her purpose and her calling? Like, what's your advice to your clients that come to you like that? What would you tell them?
Like how to live a life of more purpose, or like
Like
what?
what would you tell them to like get them fired up again about their life?
Mm. Yeah, that's a good question. I think there's so much like motivational things out there that are not actually effective. And I think as human beings, we have a tendency to get very resigned and very cynical in our lives.
Mm,
And if you try to just layer motivation and inspiration on top of the underlying like deep cynicism and resignation you have about your life, it's actually very hard to change. And I think we need to get connected to like, wow, I've really given up on myself in this area of my life. That's resignation, when you've just given up.
mm,
And we all have areas in our lives where we tend to be resigned, and other areas where we tend to be ambitious. And ambition and resignation are two sides of a coin. Ambition is really like seeing opportunities for change in your life and taking action, and resignation is seeing no opportunities for action and not taking action. So I think the most important thing is really to like get present to like, am I super resigned in this area of my life? And an area of my life that I've struggled with resignation is with love and dating. I've been single for a long time and just struggled to find somebody that I connect with. And, you know, I had to actually deal with, wow, I am super resigned in this area of my life before I could start to do the deep inner work that I needed to do to evolve into the woman I need to be to bring love in.
mm-hmm.
And I've spent a lot of time now doing that inner work, doing different books. Like I've invested in different coaches and courses. And I look back and I'm like, wow, I have evolved so much. And I'm always reading books about communication and like uncovering my unconscious patterns from childhood that are, you know, getting in the way of me creating intimacy. And I think the most important thing is that we start with awareness of resignation.
Okay.
Once we're aware that we've kind of given up in that area, the fog will usually lift, and we got to get present to how sad we are. Like,
That's hard to do.
yes, as human beings, we tend to suppress our feelings. If you were born in the 80s or earlier, you definitely suppress your feelings. Okay, we were not taught how to express our feelings at all.
Totally.
I told my mom a link about like codependent relationships because she doesn't even know what that word means.
Oh wow.
So, you know, I think we need to get present to that we're resigned. We need to admit we're resigned in that area. We need to get present to how sad we are about our resignation. And then once we really get present to that emotion, something will break open in your heart and you'll be ready to make change.
That's awesome. I love that. Yeah, I mean, self-awareness is honestly like always the first step, right? And like just admitting where you're at and being totally real with yourself.
For
Otherwise,
sure.
you're just in denial.
You cannot change if you are not aware. Let's just
Yeah.
be clear about that. So yeah, definitely self-awareness. And honestly, like if you are struggling with even being self-aware, doing things like a journal practice, just writing. I can't even tell you how many clients I have who are like, no, I've never journaled. And I'm like, what? I've been journaling since age 8. Okay. And like, yeah, I'm just like, what are you talking about? Get your journal out. But like journal, meditation, and walking are 3 of the best ways to become more self-aware, I think.
Yeah, totally. So getting back to like your story and how you've come to this point in your life, because I feel like you're at a really amazing point in your life. Like if anyone follows Heather on social media, like she is always glowing, happy, just like, girl, the highlight reel is like on point.
I do have moments where I'm, you know, not 100%. Let's just be real.
Okay.
Always show them.
Yes. But I feel like you can tell, like you're living a life authentic to what you want and what you wanted to create. So like, how did that happen for you? And like, what's changed for you along this journey?
That's a great question. And this is something that I'm really passionate about sharing with. So I was an ER nurse for 3 years, and one of the most challenging jobs I've ever done, second to being an entrepreneur. I'd say being an entrepreneur, hardest job I've probably ever done. Being an ER nurse, second or third hardest job I've ever had. And, out of challenge comes growth. And being an ER nurse was actually a huge gift that I can now see now that I'm not in the job, because I watched people die right in front of me. I watched a 17-year-old come in with a stab wound to his heart, dead. I watched a 21-year-old guy shoot himself in the head on his birthday, dead. I watched people killed by drunk drivers. I watched people destroyed by drugs and alcohol. I watched people, can't even walk, dying of cancer. You name it, I saw it, okay? And it created compassion fatigue, number one, and secondary trauma syndrome for me. But after I left the job and was able to restore myself, I was able to see what a huge gift that job was, because it taught me to appreciate life. And one of the tools that I use to make change in my life and to push myself into my discomfort zone is to do two things. And I recommend this to my clients as well. The first thing is, ask yourself, if you only had 6 months to live, what would you be doing with your time? And a lot of people don't confront that, they're not actually living the life that they want to live. They're just going along with, the day in, day out. They're not present to that time is finite, and your time is ticking away. And being an ER nurse put that in my face every single day. Your life can get taken from you like that. One day we had a patient come in who was riding his horse, fell off the horse, broke his neck, and decided that he didn't want to be on life support and trached for his entire rest of his life and just paralyzed like a vegetable. And he decided consciously to have the plug pulled.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I should stop, dicking around and move to Hawaii. Okay. What the F am I doing?
Yeah.
So that's the exercise I used to make the decision to move to Kauai, because I was being a little, to use French, I was being a little bitch about it. I'm ready to move, man. And then I was like, Heather, if you had 6 months to live, would you stay in Austin, Texas? And the answer was no. And I had to get present too. If I had 6 months to live, I'd go to the most beautiful place in the world and be in nature and beauty and connect spiritually and be surrounded by love. And that's Kauai for me.
That's so powerful.
So that's the first exercise I recommend you do if you're committed to living a life of alignment. And the second thing that I recommend you do is, as you're going through your days and you're doing things, ask yourself, if I get to my deathbed and I look back on my life, am I going to say, I wish I had done more of X, fill in the blank? So will I wish I had watched more Netflix? Well, I wish I had argued more with my partner. I wish I had laid on the couch instead of climbing a mountain. And if the answer is no, you need to stop doing that thing pronto.
That is so good. I love that. Oh my God. I like how you flipped it, because people are always like, if you're laying on your deathbed, what are you going to be regretting that you didn't do? But what are you going to be wishing you did more of? And then things you definitely won't be wishing you did more of is so eye-opening.
This is why I don't own a TV. And look, I watch Netflix. I'm not saying I never watch Netflix, but I don't own a TV because I really don't want to live a life of just being captivated by media. I want to be out in the world, doing adventures, seeing things, experiencing life. And so, those are the two questions that I use to reevaluate where I'm at in my life and where I want to get to.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. I feel like that was throw some truth bombs right there. Okay, cool. Well, I don't want to keep any more of your time because I know you're a busy lady. So if people resonated with this and you, where can they find more of you?
So my absolute favorite place to hang out is Instagram, and it's always popping over on my gram. I pretty much stories all day, every day. And I'm the Positive Thread on Instagram. I also have a podcast every week called The Positive Thread, and you can listen to it on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, and it comes out every Sunday morning. You can also check out my website, thepositivethread.com. You can friend me on Facebook at Heather McConaughey, and that's the best way to reach me.
Sweet. So we'll link all of that below. And then we're also going to include a freebie offer for anyone who wants to receive that valuable information. So make sure you guys check that out. And thank you so much, Heather. It was such a pleasure.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. All right. Bye, guys.